Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome into episode number 1 of our Rocky Mountain Wrestling local to global save in TEW 9. This was the popular vote when I put out the video on choosing my next TEW 9 series. I always like to have some variety on the channel for you guys. So if you're not into the current WWF Invasion 2001 save, I said let's have a little variety here. This was the one that was mentioned the most as what you guys would like to see. And I will tell you, before we get into this, there were a couple others that were very popular choices, and I'm going to introduce probably one of those at a time on the channel as well to give you a little bit more variety. I know what you're thinking. Come on, man. Don't do too many saves here because we know what happens. But I do think having a little bit of variety outside of just the really extensive invasion save where you have 2 shows a week, I'm doing 20 segments per show. These are the kind of series that I think help me stay a little motivated, a little fresh, rather than just having to just completely be on that same grind of these WWF 2001 videos every single time. So, again, some of the other popular choices, 1992, 2004, those were some that you guys were interested in. I know some people mentioned doing another CVerse save of some sort. We'll see how this one goes. Because, yes, I could do kind of a traditional CVerse save as well, but I've kind of sort of got it scheduled out here to where we'll kind of introduce one of these at a time. But, again, a lot of great choices, and as always, it's probably just dependent on what I'm into at the time. That's the fun of this game, right? It's just that what interests me most, and so we'll see where we get to with the others. But I do have plans to introduce a couple of those others as well. There was one in particular outside of this local to global one that seemed to get a lot of momentum. So that's your tease for when we decide to introduce that one here within the next couple weeks. But for now, let's get into it, okay? Rocky Mountain Wrestling. You're asking this big question about this whole Rocky Mountain Wrestling scheme that I've got going. Well, this is one of the starting companies in the database that is set to open randomly. And yes, initially it had, like an 8 popularity or something like that. In wherever, the Northwest, I guess it was. But what I did to make it easier, I'm not good at just creating a new promotion from scratch. All I did was simply take, the popularity down to 0. So everywhere we're 0 in popularity. We have no money. We are financially broke right now. We're insignificant. And that's pretty much it, right? So our whole goal, as you know, with the local to global thing, how do we get from where we are now to the biggest of the best? And that is our goal that will probably take decades to potentially get there. But, all right, so let's look at some other things here. Because, again, our finances, pretty easy to look at those right now. They're 0 across the board. The character that I chose to start this off with, I just went with kind of one of the options. Now, again, I don't know exactly the whole rules of the local to global on every single thing, but I assume you just pick one of the people off the bat, and that's what I did. I picked Rowdy Ryan Robertson here. I was thinking, Rocky Mountain Wrestling, this guy's going to be in the mountains. I know he's a Texan, but he's got a cowboy hat, and so that's good enough for me. So this is a guy, a brawler, 6'5", 300 pounds, an absolute hoss here, leading the way for this promotion. And again, you guys, this is probably going to be a series that is very driven by you guys' tips, because I am probably going to play this a little bit differently maybe than other people do, just because this is the first time I've ever done this type of save. You guys know me. I'm always in on the storylines and that kind of stuff with my very intricate, 20-plus segment shows and all that. This will be completely different for me. And so I will need your help along the way to figure out exactly how I navigate some of this. So I've done some research, though, all that to say that I kind of know how this works, but there are some things that I will need tips on from you to have an idea of where we head next. So the product for Rocky Mountain Wrestling, the Golden Age Pro Wrestling, the style from the 1970s before we got into sports entertainment, became the dominant style in the West. The wrestling treated very seriously, a legit competition, but starting to get a little bit of that showmanship, a little bit of that entertainment starting to come in. So you can tell a very clear face-heel divide, kayfabe in full effect here. You can see the split between our product, 60% matches, 40% angles for TV shows. We don't have to worry the hell about that for a long time because we're not getting a TV deal anytime soon. 95% matches, 5% angles on that. So not a lot other than just it is kind of your straightforward throwback type style. I'm okay with that to start with because, that's not really a risky product by any means. So once we get sponsorships 50 years down the road, that's something we can look at. All right, so we'll get to the two biggest things to me I know that we have to figure out, and that is the schedule. These are automated, because it's a new company, so these just automatically loaded up one event per whatever. I've not touched these, so these will all change, of course. Frequency, there's a question for the comment section. For you guys who have done this, say, before, what's the frequency? I've seen some people say do one show a month, charge basically nothing, either free tickets or, very low price tickets. That way you're growing your popularity automatically, and you're not spending a lot of money necessarily, all that kind of stuff. But is it one show? Is it 2 shows per month? What's the frequency that's worked out well for you guys who have tried this? That's what I'm most curious about. That's a change I'll have to make before our next episode and figure out exactly what our schedule will look like. So tips appreciated on that in the comments. Also, the roster, right? That is where we now have to hire some people. And, Big Rowdy Ryan Robertson, Triple R here, the head honcho, if you will, of Rocky Mountain Wrestling. He's got to have somebody to get in the ring with. And so what I've done, and I know this is also something, just doing some research on this, because again, I'm going to have to research how other people have done this before. But I know that what you want to do is you want to hire people that you don't have to pay to travel and those kind of things, because you really have no money. So you have to be as cost effective as possible here. So we've done intention to hire, can work in the USA, based in the Northwest, which is where the promotion is. So we see these options of people who are based there. Now, one thing I am curious about when it comes to the roster itself, we don't need a minimum number of wrestlers, so we don't have to worry about that. Now, we do need a storyline, and that's where Triple R is going to come in, I'm sure, and maybe be a big part of this. We don't have any titles, we don't have any commentators, any of that kind of stuff. So, again, you guys let me know what we need the most out of this. But when I'm looking at the wrestlers here, obviously we got to hire some people. And one of the things that really stands out of the Northwest crew that we're going to have to try to hire from right off the bat because they're local is there's a lot of women's wrestlers here. And I don't know, does that factor in anything like that? I have no idea. So as I'm going through this, though, we got some options, and I want you guys to give me your feedback on how many of these people we actually need. There is one person on this list we're going to get to in a second that I am hiring 100%. I don't care how much he costs, because I can see a decade-long feud between Triple R and this guy right here. But we'll get to him in a second. So you've got, again, some options here. We're looking at the different costs, right? Someone like Dropkicks, what a name, $40 per show. I mean, Dropkicks with that headband right there, he's made for Rocky Mountain Wrestling, if you ask me. But he's a high flyer. I don't know if he necessarily fits into the 70s style. The Flying Patriot, same concept. Now, I wish Giant Redwood was still active. I know he costs $210 per show, but you can't tell me this guy isn't made for a feud with Triple R. Big Giant Redwood in Wyoming, Rocky Mountain Wrestling. I mean, they could have a mountain match right on top of the damn mountain for all I care. But again, you got a lot of women's options here. It seems like some of these are commentators. Called or tag here doesn't seem like an option. A brawler, 6'3", 256, only $30 per show. That seems like something that we might have to take a look at. You see his tag team partner down here, Wolfie. These two got the toboggans on their heads. They're made for the snow and the mountains. So these two are probably going to be part of the roster, I would assume. Lady Liberty, also made for the USA. And again, we just keep going down here. There's different options you have here. Retired wrestler, never wrestles. Don't know if that's going to be a good idea. Paul Steadyfast, $270 per show. Seems a little high to me. We might have to negotiate with him a little bit. Power Girl. Rain Man seems like a pretty, possible option here. But again, I need to know from you guys, how many people are we trying to hire here off the bat, right? Because that's what we've got to put on a show. I mean, really, I guess our show could be an hour long or something like that. It doesn't have to be a 2.5 hour show by any means. That's not going to happen. But, we need to at least have some options in terms of the card. So, again, you've got some other women's stars here and all that. But I told you earlier, there was one person that he's a little pricey, but I want to find a way to hire. So you guys give me your tips on this. Are you telling me right now that for a new promotion, Rocky Mountain Wrestling, that's got Triple R, Rowdy Ryan Robertson, leading the way. He's a brawler. He's 6'5", 300 pounds. And you are telling me that we cannot put together a feud the level of WrestleMania between Triple R and the Silencer, who is also a brawler based in the Northwest, $30 per show. The guy has some popularity. He's a growing superstar, in my opinion. I think this guy is made for this promotion. So, I mean, genuine tough guy, was part of the U.S. Army Special Forces Division, rescued hostages from hostile locations. I mean, this guy is made for RMW. So, I mean, I don't care if USPW and SWF were keeping tabs on this guy. Nothing ever came of it. I'll tell you what's going to come of it. That's going to be a top spot in RMW. So, I have all my fun with this to, again, ask you guys, what should we do about the roster? How many of these people should we sign? And don't tell me to not sign the Silencer, because I'm signing that guy no matter what. Because I've got my RMW WrestleMania main events already scheduled out, and it's clearly going to be those two. But, all right, in all seriousness, what else do we need here to get this thing started? This is the introduction episode. I always do these in all the series. But before I jump in, we want to make sure we're setting ourselves up for success. So I need your input. You guys let me know what are the best ways to get this thing started. We want to get off to a good start. Like I said, my basis right now, just based on looking around at other people doing this, we're going to hire some of the local workers. We are going to, the frequency of the events, I think, is another big question I have. Do we do one? Do we do two? Do we more than that per month? What do we do to start with? It's going to be a grind. I understand that. This is certainly a long-term save. It's unlike anything we've ever done on the channel. But remember, with Rowdy Ryan leading the way, anything is possible. And that is our motto at Rocky Mountain Wrestling. So you guys weigh in. Give me your best tips to start this local to global extravaganza. And as I teased earlier, be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well. Give me your thoughts. And also, don't forget, the WWF Invasion save still rolling right along. And I mentioned we are going to add another one of those series in. Got some ideas. Like I said, 92 was a popular choice. 2004 TNA was a popular choice. 92 WCW was a popular one. And some other CVerse type stuff. Just know that I have some plans for those series as well, because they were some that got a lot of momentum in the votes. But we're just going to kind of introduce one of these at a time and just kind of see where it goes. So keep that in mind. If you want your 1992, 2004 fix, it will be on the channel soon enough. All right, I appreciate you guys watching. We're going to have some fun with this. Like I said, this is something that I never thought I would do on the channel, but now that I've gotten into it, I'm all in, because I can definitely see a path for high entertainment value with building up this roster and Rocky Mountain Wrestling. All right, appreciate you guys watching. Let me know your thoughts. And on the next episode of our Rocky Mountain Wrestling local to global TEW9 save, it will be something.